Pilot is Foundry's AI application builder. You describe the app you want in plain language, and it generates the ontology objects, a design spec, React front-end code, and seed data, then deploys through Developer Console on the OSDK. What makes it stand out is the speed. One prompt gets you a working deployable app in minutes, fast enough to prototype with, but it ships as a production-grade app, not a throwaway mockup. In this video, I'll build a real app from a single prompt and walk through what it produces at each step, from the generated ontology to the live preview. Before we get started, a quick word from our founder.
Discover how Palantir customers unlock more value from Foundry and AIP thanks to our live instructor-led trainings. We are Ontologize, a group of former Palantir engineers who love teaching. We've trained thousands of Palantir users at leading organizations around the world. Unlock the full potential of your Palantir deployment by going to ontologize.com.
To participate in this exercise, you only need one prerequisite, which is you need Pilot. So it might not be turned on in your stack. If you try to search for Pilot and you can't find it, just reach out to one of your administrators and make sure that they turn on Pilot for you in Control Panel. Assuming you have Pilot, you're going to hit Control-J and you are going to search for Pilot. Remember, if it's not popping up, that means you don't have it enabled. So I'm going to click on Pilot. And here we are in Pilot. First, here's where you're going to specify what you want to build. You have the option to add context. Let's talk about that. Pilot has the ability to use both existing object types and create new object types to build some sort of application. Let's say that you already have an ontology, all that's set up, and you just want to prototype an app on top of your ontology. If that was the case, you could add existing object types, action types, and functions that you want Pilot to use. But the thing about Pilot and what makes it really great is that it's not just going to use your existing ontology. It can also create new object types that you need that would really make your app complete. You have some choices about that, though. So on ontology permissions, by default, it's allowed to create new object types, but not edit existing object types. It's also, by default, allowed to create new actions, but not edit actions. And so you could turn these off. So for example, if you had your entire ontology built out and you don't want Pilot touching it, or making new object types, you can always disallow the creation of new object types and action types. As it stands right now, Pilot will be able to create the object types that we need. So for this demonstration, we are going to be allowing it to create new object types and new actions. And I will not be providing it any context for existing functions, actions, or objects. Take note, you can also add a file, so maybe a design spec or some other sort of context that would be useful. Let's go ahead and write our prompt. So here I'm going to paste in my prompt. Let's talk about what this is doing. So build an app for managing equipment maintenance work orders at a facilities team. When a piece of equipment breaks or needs service, someone logs a work order describing the problem, sets a priority, and links it to the asset it's for. A supervisor assigns the work order to a technician who moves it through the stages of the job: open, assigned, in progress, on hold, and completed. Each asset lives at a site and has a type, a model, and an install date. Technicians have a name, a trade specialty, and the site they cover. So that's good context for what the ontology should look like. What is the real state of our organization, and how can we best capture that in the ontology? Next, we move on to the workflow in the UI. The main screen should be a work order queue the supervisor can filter by status, priority, and site, with a way to assign technicians and move work orders through their stages. I also want to open a single asset and see its full maintenance history, show me a few summary metrics at the top, like open work orders by priority and average time to complete. If you didn't want to type all that out, you could also record audio and use that as your prompt. So we kind of gave it the who, what, where, when, why, and then also exactly what we want to see. Make sure that you have a save location configured, so whatever project you can work in, and an ontology selected. And then you're going to go ahead and hit Create Application. All right, so here you're going to see some things happening. So basically everything's getting spun up. We are preparing the workspace. Now you'll see that we are on a different screen. We're having some dependencies installed. You'll also see the thought process on the left-hand side. So first, it's going through the project structure, looking around the repository, and now it has some to-dos. So set up the ontology, build the UI, generate the seed data, and then verify the app works end-to-end. So you're just going to have to give it a couple of minutes at this point. So hang tight for now. In a few minutes, you will see that you have a fully working app. And here we have our app. So we set up the ontology, We generated the seed data for testing. We have the front end. And the app works end to end. So here's a summary of what we got. We went for an industrial style design. And so let's take a look at our application. We have the high-level KPIs as requested. So remember, these are all derived from synthetic seed data, not your real data. We didn't actually give it any data. And then we have this interactive table here, so we can add some filters, look at our open work orders, make new work orders, fill this out, we create it. And so this is using actions on the back end, but it renders using a custom modal because everything here is custom. And just as we asked, when we click on a row of the table, so if we click on an asset, we can get the full maintenance history and all of the details just as we asked for. So this is what we've got so far, and it looks pretty good. It's pretty clean. It does exactly what we want it to do. And it's not just about the front end here. So here we'll see the ontology that got designed. So we have, first of all, a work order. And these are proposed, right? So none of these actually exist. You can see a summary of this under existing versus proposed. So a work order is connected to an asset and a technician and a site. And an asset is connected to a site. Then we have our actions. So we have update work order status, assign work order, and create work order. And that is our proposed ontology. Next up, we have the code. So this is all the code that is powering our app. And so if you wanted to have a look around here, understand what you're looking at, if you were to go under source, you could see all of the different components, and you can also explore more as needed, or maybe even do your own tweaks. And in addition, if it wasn't really meeting the mark, so for example, what if you didn't like these little tilted status indicators? You could go keep prompting it and go edit what you're seeing here. So next, let's talk about deployment. So when you click on deploy, it's going to create a branch. And so here, I would want to specify a project for this all to go in, and the project would be the one that I've been working in, so that's the Gena learning project. And then I would give this a name. So I would call this Gcoblence Pilot Work Order Manager. And then I would create my branch. All right, so here we have our branch created, and don't be alarmed when you see that your app looks empty. So let's go ahead and click on View Branch. What you're seeing here is that the entities, the objects, the actions, and the links that were created by Pilot are on our branch, but they're not on main. And so in order to release this, all of the entities must be on main. So I'm going to click on a View Branch. And here you'll see all of the different resources that are proposed as part of my branch. Now I'm going to click on Create Proposal. And then click on Create. Everything is good here. So if any of these are red, it could indicate that there's an indexing error, or more likely than that, it could indicate that there is a name clash. So a name clash could be very realistic if you are not adding proper prefixes, or if you're on a training stack and you have a lot of similarly named object types. So just keep in mind that could be a reason why you wouldn't get green check marks here. It looks like that button is all live for me. So now I'm going to click on Merge Proposal and then click on Merge Proposal. Now these objects are part of my actual ontology. If we go back to Pilot, we're going to see this modal to switch to main now because we merged the branch. So what is left for us to do? Right now, we have object types created, we have action types, we have link types, but you'll see that we have no data. And the reason that we have no data, it's not just because the object types are still indexing, which they are, it's because the seed data went away. And the expectation here is that you as a builder, once you design your application and design your ontology, would plug in real data to back these object types. So for example, if I wanted to go ahead and plug in my real work orders, if I were to open that object type and have a look at it, you will see that the backing dataset here is this dummy empty dataset. And if I take a look at that, you will see that it is empty. So it has a schema, it has the right columns, but it is totally empty. So what you would want to do here is, first of all, you'd want to make sure that your real backing data has the same schema, the same shape as this one. And then you would want to replace this dummy data set with your real data. Part of making sure that your actual data will match the shape of this dummy data is to be very prescriptive in terms of what you need in the Pilot prompt. So that would be the next step to actually make this display real data. You'll see here that we have this little flag saying that we are using production data. So if you actually were to trigger actions here, this would actually affect your data. This would actually create new work orders, for example. From here, though, you would have to configure the application in the subdomain. So you would click on Configure Application. This would be your application name, and then you could request a subdomain. So for example, Gena Work Order App. And then I could create the application. And then I still have to get my domain approved. So I can go ahead and approve that in my admin view, but you might need to get an admin to actually do that. So I went ahead and approved my domain, and now it is running its CI checks. So if you've ever built an app with the OSDK, you'll also remember that process. So before we tag and release, let's talk about the difference between Pilot and AIFDE, because at first glance, you might think that they do similar things, and they can accomplish similar things. But Pilot is a guided one-shot flow with a fixed output. Describe an app, it generates the ontology, the front end, the seed data, and gets into a deployable OSDK app. The shape of what comes out is defined. You steer by refining its proposal. So it's really about coming up with an idea, and then you get an app out of it. Everything's done for you. Whereas AIFDE is an agent that you point at whatever Foundry work you have, or maybe something that you're starting, and it can range across the platform, ontology, pipelines, functions, apps, the connective tissue between them, iteratively in your live workspace, the way that you'd hand tasks to an embedded engineer. And at this point, we are ready to go ahead and hit tag and release. So click on tag and release. And then you're going to click on tag and release. And now at this point, the next step would be to plug in real data. We'll leave that to you. Thanks for watching. We hope you found this useful. Be sure to let us know what you want to see next in the comments.